Well, somehow despite all the whining from Volkswagen about not wanting to be related with war and pop culture, which is kind of counterproductive considering it actually brings up their Nazi past because they're drawing attention to it, we finally have a masterpiece Bumblebee. And now I have one in gold, because there are way too many Bumblebees on the market. Thing is, I don't actually have that many bees to begin with. Yeah, the deluxe-ish scale, this is my second one. Well, at least I got one that wasn't as generic as the others, because this is from Generation 2, with that terrible voice. Transformers! Jeez, that's a terrible opening. Bumblebee's alt mode is exactly what I was hoping for. He's nice and realistic, without all those silly alternity tampos. You do get stickers though, which you can put wherever you like. I would say to experiment with the results, but you only get one copy, so I guess be careful before applying them? The sculpting on this thing is minimal, but completely accurate in comparison to the original vehicle. Little details such as the tiny Volkswagen symbols, the hood lines, the grills, and the tiny lights on top show just how far the designers can go when they aren't constricted to a budget. The paint's also excellent, with many minor details being picked out that makes this figure stand out in comparison to other versions of the character. I especially like the transparent brake lights, using that trick of red ink over completely clear plastic. All in all, this figure looks amazing in this mode. Bumblebee comes with quite a few accessories. I'll discuss 4 at the moment, starting off with the spare tyre and the gun. Both of them store under the vehicle, which is really neat. I usually have the tyre pegged in at the back though, because it adds to the figure. The gun storage is still nice though. You also get a jetpack for robot mode, and the cool thing is you can actually peg it into the back of the car to stay on during transformation. This looks dumb, but hey, you can do it. Finally, he comes with 2 mirrors. Thing is, they're both for the one side, so you can't have one on each. Yeah, they're accurate, but they look really dumb in robot mode, so I'm skipping them out. I do have a few gripes though. For starters, the spare tyre seems to be cast in gold plastic rather than being painted. This makes it less shiny than the rest of it, and from many angles it looks pretty jarring. Furthermore, the wheels at the front don't really peg in, so they often roll into their robot mode configuration. The gun does help on one, but the other's always floppy. Finally, the last issue here is the size. He's way too small. Oh yeah, sure, you can argue that he was like that in the cartoon, but for such a realistic alt mode, and for the price, he's way undersized. The Lazy Eyebrow review did an entire video on this, so you should go check it out. I'm not so much of a scale nut, but this just feels tiny. He's smaller than most deluxes, and that just seems off. The transformation has a lot of ideas, some good, some bad. The legs are engineering perfection, with tons of 90-degree angle rotations and sweet locking tabs that keep everything together. I also like how the grille at the top sucks into the torso in such a unique way that I haven't actually seen it on a Transformer before. The torso doesn't really do anything, but it doesn't need to, so I can overlook it. What I can't overlook is how bland and boring the rest is in comparison. The arms just flip out from a huge chunk of shell, and said shell just pegs into the back without much compression. It doesn't quite capture the way the back looked in the show, and that's a bit of a bummer. For an $80 toy, this just feels like it needs more oomph. This robot mode looks pretty good though. It captures the animation model almost perfectly, aside from the aforementioned back. The gold really adds something to the design, and the flip-out Autobot symbol is a really nice touch. Sadly, it's just a sticker, whereas the original Masterpiece B had a molded chest symbol. But considering how they give you an option for either symbol, whether it's G2 or G1, I can let it slide. I think my favourite part of this mode is surprisingly the feet. Sure, they look ugly from the sides, but the way they've been formed is just so cool. The chest is also so Bumblebee, and I'm probably not the only one who prefers the whole centre of the car becoming a chest rather than the front. What is he, a Datsun? I will say that the arms are a little weak. Not only do they actually look like he can't throw a punch, but the lower arms are just a joke. They're so hollow on the inside, and their head-like kibble on the backs are hella distracting. The figure completely makes up for it though with an epic head sculpt. It's so G2, and it gives him such a distinction from every other Bumblebee in your collection, because I'm sure most collectors will have at least 10 of them at this point. He also comes with 2 extra faceplates, and they have a lot more definition in the face with the lines from the cartoon, in comparison to the mushy original release. Too bad I don't care, as this visor and faceplate combo is so metal. For articulation, he's actually a little bit boring. I mean, he's got plenty of it, but it just doesn't seem to look as expressive as other figures. His head is on a swivel and a hinge, and his shoulders are on ball joints. They have a hinge that goes down for transformation, but it doesn't offer anything unless you do that mod that I'll try after recording this. He has a bicep swivel and a 90-degree elbow, but no wrist articulation. With such hollow forearms, I can't see why they didn't incorporate it. He does have a waist swivel though, and has got universal joints and a thigh swivel. He has a 90-degree knee bend and a second joint if you want to dislocate his knee. Finally, he has 2 ankle tilts, one for the side and one for forward. This is a lot, but I just don't find myself getting as excited about it as I should be. In terms of accessories, the gun makes a return, and although it looks fine, once again I don't feel really excited. Finally, he swaps out Spike's exosuit for a jetpack. It clips on where the spare tire goes, and actually doesn't look too bad. Would I have preferred a redeco of Spike though, possibly in black? Absolutely, so it's kind of a shame. For a size comparison, he's once again really short. In this mode it makes a little more sense, but just barely. In the end, he's really well designed, really well articulated, and really well painted. Both modes are stellar, and he's hardly got any flaws. So why am I feeling underwhelmed? Is it because it's just another Bumblebee? No, he brings a lot more to the table than you might expect. The only thing I can guess is that the Masterpiece line is way overhyped for me at this point. In the end, he gets 4 stars. He's fantastic in all of his individual categories, but in my mind he's just lacking that extra push to shove him into the awesome zone. Next time, I'm ready to start a Fembot marathon, kicking it off with a toy that cost me way too much when I got it, but it's still pretty cool. The next 3 reviews will all be Fembots. Well, 4 if you count the secret project.